Hello everyone, this is part 2 of a video that features foreign coins, and there are going to be a lot of tokens later on in this video that I got as a Christmas gift, and they were purchased from an eBay uh, user that goes by the name of, I guess that's pronounced Pachaslos, but they have a website too, and I guess that's some kind of international slot machine. But they don't have a lot of foreign coin lots often, but this one had a lot of nice stuff, especially when you get to the tokens that we're going to see later on in this video. When I said this lot had a lot of tokens, I just assumed this one was a token. It's a very token-like looking coin. All you can see on here is the number 2014 in the middle and the letters RBZ just all over the place. You have it in small letters around the edge on the left and the right, and the outline of those letters in the background just like they were all just thrown in there. We flip this one over, and here we have 25, the background of a lot of 25s just written all over the place, and it says 25 cents in bond coin. The RBZ is well, I forget what the R stands for, but it's the Bank of Zimbabwe. And so this comes out after they had all of those hyperinflation, the large 100 trillion notes. When they finally got their currency a little bit more stable, that's when these bond coins came out. So this one actually has a book value of $2. But it's too new to have a catalog number. I'm wrong, it has catalog number 19. I'm afraid this coin has been cleaned because it has a lot of scratches on it, but I still think it looks kind of nice. This one is from Iran. It has on their calendar, which is the SH calendar of 1362. On our calendar, that is 1983. Has the number 20 here of reals. Let me flip this one over, and it's just a lot more Arabic writing. I'm not even sure which side is up, but since the roses are facing up, I guess this side is up. So this is a larger denomination coin. It is a large coin. It is about the size of a US half dollar. This one is KM 1236 and has a catalog value of $1.65. This coin is going to be from Afghanistan, which the design seems similar to other Afghanistan coins, especially with I guess the portion of the temple that appears in the middle. Although most of the time we find Afghan coins in pretty poor shape, but it's got the teardrop number, which is their 5. So this has a value of 5 Afghanis from 2004. Has a catalog of KM 1046. It takes a long time to oftentimes look up these old Chinese cash coins. They had a similar design for their one cash coins for over 1,000 years. And so usually what you're going to see is 4 characters on this side. You flip it over, it's got 2 characters on the back, and it takes a lot of time to try and figure out what these are. Most of them are going to be closer to 1900 than to 900, but I do what I can, and I do my best to look these up in the book of Chinese cash coins written by David Hartle. This one cash coin is circa 1746 to 1753. There are not enough characters on here for them to give a date. But usually what they have, this symbol and this symbol usually are going to be the same on almost all these coins. And they signify that this coin has value. The coin at the top, the coin at the bottom are representing who is currently in charge, and then the symbols on the back tell you usually where the coin is being made. So this one, when I look at it, is from the Board of Revenue, which makes it a countrywide of China coin. It has a Hartle value of H22.203. Now, usually when I find these coins, they're very well worn, but when you have them cleaned on top of it, that does make it extra difficult to find. And then even when you get to the right page, there's a lot of subtle differences, such as the thing that almost looks like a Z. Sometimes it looks more like a Z, and sometimes it looks like it has a big hook coming off the top. So there are a lot of subtle differences to you that tell you exactly when it was made. And then things like ring thickness on it. So this one is, when we flip it over, instead of having the more common nationwide mint on the back, this one represents that it is a specific mint from the Fuzhou or Fujian coastal province. So this one was made circa 1740 through 1750 and is H22.272. This one puts us back at the same mint mark that we had with the very first one. And so this one cash coin is, again, from the Board of Revenue. It almost looks like this one could be fake. It's kind of hard to say. But if this one is real, it's from 1713 and is H22.91. So it would only have a book value of about a quarter. So I don't know if anyone's going to try and fake these on purpose. We finished all the actual coins. Now we have some tokens coming up, and we're going to start with this one right here. This says $quarter, and I believe this has a mule deer on it, parent and child. Has 2011. Let me flip it over. And so on here it says the sovereign nation of Los Coyotes Indians of the United States of America. It has USA written across the bottom. This is I first saw these about 3 or 4 years ago, but have never actually purchased one by itself. So this is the first one I've ever had. Someone partnered with multiple Native American tribes in the United States to produce fantasy currency. And so a lot of these coins will make their own 1 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 25, 50, and then usually throw in 2 of the $1 coins. And they are all made up, but they are all designed by the specific tribe. So, of course, this one is the Los Coyotes Indians, as it says on here. And so I think all of them, of the Los Coyotes ones, will have these 2 howling wolves and the eagle on it in front of the moon. And so I've seen several of these before. You can usually find they were sold as complete sets, and you can usually find them for about $20. And they were all made at the same year, which is 2011. So interesting series, and but a little bit more than I want to pay for them, so I'm glad to finally get one out of this lot. In part 1 of the series, I talked about how the Marshall Islands made coins specifically for Americans, even though they otherwise don't have a connection to America like that, but their mint will authorize coins to be sold to Americans. Well, it's not only countries that do that. This is what you would call from the Hutt River province. Now, if you see the name Queensland, you might recognize that as Australia, but I'd never heard of the Hutt River province before. Well, this is one of those places that they claim that they're a country, but no one else agrees to it. And I do have coins from a couple of other places like this, but I had circulating coins. This one is, again, a coin that is made by one of these micronations that isn't officially recognized by other nations, but where they make a commemorative coin to sell to Americans or to other places. So this one would have a value of $5 in the Hutt River province in Australia. And just like the one from Marshall Island in the last video, this one celebrates Desert Storm. So we have, looks like an aircraft carrier, a tank, a couple of planes, and a helicopter on here, but some kind of battle cruiser, more planes in the background, all from 1991. So these are all, this is quite interesting. I wasn't familiar with Hutt River Island or their commemorative coins. And so I'm not going to try and place a value on any of the tokens that we see through the rest of the video. Let me pause and say I did have a running tally of all the coins. And of all the coins in video 1 and the few in the first part of this video, added up to $48.40. And for a lot that cost $60, that's a win, because I still have another 3 pounds of coins that are going to go in my trade pile, and to get a lot of value out of this, I just think it's fantastic. And then we're not even including the value of any of the remaining coins out of here. I did include the value of the silver of this next one. So this is an actual silver coin. It says the Ralph L. Carter Private Treasury. I Googled this, and I didn't come up with anything. Flip it over. A little bit more interesting. It says 100 grains sterling silver, 1971. And then we see Ben Franklin on this coin, and right here is the Franklin Mint mark. And so in the early 70s, the Franklin Mint must have had some kind of program where if you accumulated a lot of silver, they would mint your coins. You turn your silver into coins for you. Now, how I end up with one of these, who knows how this made it around, but I do have another one from the Franklin Mint that had a different name on it. But this is real silver. It's real sterling silver, so that means it's 92.5%. This one has a silver value of $4.70. So the value of this did make the 4840 that I told you just a moment ago, but the rest of these tokens are not added up as a part of that. So I've got a whole nother bag of tokens that I am going to lay out right here, and we're going to start going through these now. This next token is going to be a token from Israel. So I believe that this was made in, as it says, Israel's 25th anniversary. And you see how the ribbon there actually spells the numbers 2 and 5. And I can't read any of the Hebrew characters on this, but I believe that what the Israeli Mint did was for all of their tokens and medals and coins that they released just this one year, which I believe is 1974, they all came with one of these tokens. So they are pretty neat, but they don't have that much numismatic value, even though I think this is pretty interesting. And so it was made by the Israel Government Coins and Metals Corporation. There's our date of 1974, and then it has their calendar year on this side, which I believe is in the 6000s. And I can't read anything else on that one. But that's not the only one I have. This one is also from 1972, so just a couple of years older than the last one. This one seems to be, the last one almost seemed like it was made out of pewter, but this one has a kind of a brushed copper nickel look to it. And for this one, has let my people go. So thinking of Moses in Exodus on here. And so I think it's interesting how we have all these lines through here, and there's like a circle that's inside the lines that almost looks like it's underneath it. So I think these are neat designs. Certainly found these quite interesting. Next up is a casino token worth $1. And this is, says, let's see, $1 gaming token acceptable only on LA, or maybe that's La period cruise. So I don't know if that's Los Angeles, Louisiana, or something completely different. But we do have a picture of the cruise liner on here, smoke billowing out of it. $1 of casino value of 1994. Again, it's got some of that weird toning that we saw in some of the coins from the last video, but it's another one that celebrates Operation Desert Storm. So wherever this coin was, or token was originally collected from, they must be a Desert Storm fan. So it has the dates of Desert Storm on here. So I'm not sure who put on this casino. I've never heard of La Cruises or anything about it, but I found that interesting. Here's another token with a somewhat interesting story. This one is Thomas Jefferson, and it has a portrait that looks sort of similar to the United States Thomas Jefferson dollar. So the story behind this one is about the time the United States was going to come out with their first presidential dollar coins, the Home Shopping Network, or one of these shopping networks, contacted Daniel Carr, who is someone who has made all kinds of fantasy coins. Actually got a couple of his designs really accepted from the U.S. Mint, so he has some credibility in making coins, but they wanted him to make some fantasy coins that were, in his mind, what the United States coins, the actual circulating coins, should look like. So these aren't real, but they are the fantasy coins, and they wanted, the shopping network was trying to get something to capitalize on the upcoming fervor of the presidential dollars. And so since Thomas Jefferson is the third president, we've got a 3 inside of a star, has the years of his life, no, the years he was president, 1801 to 1809, on here. And then for the Statue of Liberty design, that's what he came up with. When you make fantasy dollars, you're not allowed to actually have a dollar bill here, so that's why there's an S in front of the 1, but it still has U Pluribus Unum, 2007, US of America around the edge, nothing on the edge, although it is a thicker coin on here. So I believe they made 10,000 of these in what this one is called the satin finish. So kind of an interesting thing to find. If you like transportation tokens, this one is for you. This one says the Niagara Falls Bridge Commission. And this one, of course, that could be US or Canada. I believe this one's actually produced by the state of New York. So it must have been the cost of driving over one of the 3 bridges, because there are 3 bridges listed on this bimetallic token. We got the Rainbow Bridge, the Whirlpool Rapids Bridge, and the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge. And so I guess it cost 1 token to go across. I have crossed one of those bridges, and it was somewhere around 1996. And I remember at the time it cost about $2 to $2.50. So maybe that's what this token sold for way back then. That last one can be found in a catalog called the Atwood Coffee Book of North American Transportation Tokens, where they give it a catalog number of NY640H. Here is some play money because it has the word capilla. I guess that is Spanish for copy, on a coin that otherwise looks sort of like the 20 centavos coin from Mexico that dated through the about the 50s through the 70s, I think. Very similar, not as much detail, a lot thinner of a coin. But I believe that this was made for a magician set. This has an unusual look for a token, a face with a blindfold on it. This almost looks like a face that you would see something from a Greek coin from way back when, but not with a blindfold on it. We turn it over, and it has Fortuna, and then you might recognize the CCCP at the top is what the Soviet Union, that was their initials for themselves. So this one is a Soviet Union video game token. So I guess we're looking at something in the 80s here. This one is more amusing than numismatic. We have the United States of America alien quarters. And at one time, they actually had an alienquarters.com website that they mention on the bottom. These people actually took real U.S. quarters and then produced their own quarters from that. They used the U.S. quarters as planchets. They still left the In God We Trust on it, but if you look closely here, the old In God We Trust appears right here. But we flip it over, and there were 3 different versions of the alien quarters. This one is from the Heartland USA, which honors crop circles, has unexplained, and then a fantasy language below it, and then something about light years on that sign right here. The other 2 of this set were from Roswell, New Mexico, and Area 51, another couple of places that are noted for their aliens. So this is cute. You can also tell that it's made from a U.S. quarter because of how you can see the actual copper and nickel divided when you look at the edge. Here's our next casino token. This one is from the El Gran Almirante for 25 cents. This one is apparently a casino hotel in the Dominican Republic. And didn't find much on this one online, but all the ones that I found had a little bit of a different look than this one, such as that many of them did have the E and the backwards E right next to each other, but I didn't see any others that have the old-fashioned sailing ship on it. Here's a token that honors Nelson Mandela, and this one specifically says, "A long walk to freedom," has his portrait on it. So this one comes from a coin and token dealer from South Africa that would hire different world mints to produce Mandela commemorative tokens for them that they would sell in their shop in South Africa. This one was, so the name of that shop was the Scoin, so it's the word coin with an S in front of it. The Scoin shop, free Mandela 76 through 80, but this one was actually minted by the Mint of Norway on here. So it's interesting how the people from South Africa were able to partner with all of these foreign countries. Here is a tax token. This one is from Oklahoma, probably my first from Oklahoma. This one has the number 5 on it. And it looks the same on either side. If you're not familiar with these, when sales tax first was a thing, there was a portion of a cent of sales tax. So you might buy something for 13 cents, and then after the tax, maybe it costs 13.5 cents. You would pay 14 cents, and then you would get change back of a half of a cent, which they would call 5 mills. A cent is 1/100th of a dollar, so a mill is 1,000th of a dollar. And so that means half of a cent is 5 mills, and that's what this was worth at one time. And I've seen these from plenty of different states. I think this is my first one from Oklahoma. And this one was made around 1936, made of brass. This coin was made to look similar to a 5-pence piece from 1986. This is about the same size of a 5-pence piece, and you have about the same portrait of Queen Elizabeth from back then. What's different about it, of course, is the word silk hat on either side of the Queen here. But we flip it over, and this one is definitely different. Again, it has the term silk hat. We've got a 2-headed eagle, with each of them was wearing a silk hat. So again, apparently silk hat is a reference to the hat that magicians wear. So this is another magician token. I found multiple references to this token when I would do internet search, but almost none of them told me anything about it. This does say 1 punto, which is essentially 1 point, and it is made out of copper nickel. I flip it over and it looks the same, although that side's a little bit more tarnished. And about the best I can find on it is this was made in Spain, and it is a ration token that was used for washing. That's really all I found on this one, but I did see that there were about 8 different varieties of the 1 punto. Here's another coin or token that is designed to look like a British coin. This one represents the, well, this looks like the pre-decimal coins of Britain, or a 1-penny coin. Doesn't look exactly the same, but does look very similar. We've got the woman holding the trident with the sea in the background. They didn't make the 1-penny coin like this in 1987. Instead, it is from the Ironbridge Gorge Museum token. And so this was made by the Heat and Mint. Apparently this was a series of multiple museums that all shared a similar collection called the Ironbridge Gorge Museum. They all represented Victorian era features. There are 2 specific versions of this token. There is the flat version and then the concave version. This one is the flat version. You look at the features of it and it isn't very detailed on here. This would have cost you 40 pence to purchase this inside their museum. And I think the purpose of it was you could then spend these in the gift shop on things that were Victorian era items. So if something cost 1 pence, then you had to go out, purchase this token for 40 pence, and then buy it from the gift shop from people dressed up like Victorian era people with this token. So kind of an interesting concept here. But again, it's neat how it references the 1 pence, which in 1987 was 20 years out of date. I thought this one was going to be a casino token of some kind. It's written in some kind of alien language. Flip it over, 1,000. Then at the bottom I see copyright 96 Hasbro. As it turns out, this is from the Star Wars Monopoly board game, and so this one is 1,000 Imperial credits. So maybe not as interesting as I originally thought. Next we have a couple of reprints of some ancient Roman coins. This one is, it looks like Ivdea, but it's actually Judea Capta. So This replica goes back to King Vespasian, who wanted to make a series of coins honoring how the Romans captured Judea. However, he did not really care too much about the base metal coins, and so some of them had SC on it, which means that these were the coins that were actually designed by the Roman Senate. So SC is kind of stands for their Senate decree. So this is not meant to look like a gold coin, I don't believe. But on this side, I guess we have Caesar on it. So obviously a reprint because it's way too good shape to be a real. But if you don't like how Judea was captured, you might like this coin a little bit better. This one is a replica of a Judea silver shekel. This one features in the middle looks like a bowl, but it's a chalice with pearls going across it. And what I find interesting about this is some of the earliest Israel coins, when they were reformed as a country in the 1940s, they made a coin that was a throwback to this design with the chalice with the pearls on it. And then when we flip this one over, it includes some more characters that I can't read, but those words actually stand for Jerusalem the Holy. And then finally, the little plant that's in the middle represents pomegranate buds. Here's a Greek token that represents what they call Vassilopita. This is a tradition called the New Year's cake, where they take on New Year's Eve, someone will bake a cake and they'll bake a coin on the inside of it. And then on New Year's Day, they'll cut up the cake, and whoever finds the token is said to have good luck for the entire year. So this one is from Greece and has the year 2004 on it. It has a design of a Greek soldier on here, and then I guess some kind of Olympic athlete on this side. We've got 4 left, and all these I can't really find anything on, so we'll throw these out here. This one is Centro Internacional de Numerologia Moneda del Dragon. So probably some kind of American organization that wanted to honor the Chinese dragon on a token of some kind. And then we've just, I guess that's the yin-yang design on the back. Here's a token from Hilldale Dairy of Dubuque, Iowa. 8-sided. Good for 1 quart of milk. Another 8-sided token. This one is good for 5 cents in trade. And this one comes to us from Ockie and Cliff, 7th Corner Bar, 1429 South Washington. And then we're going to end on a coin here that is a replica of a USA Seated Liberty half dime. And so they're certainly, I can't say that I would have ever found a half dime that has this much detail to it, so I don't know how much off it's going to be compared to the real thing. It does seem like the date of 1864 on the bottom is a little bit higher than it should be, but we flip it over, and certainly with the word copy moving all of the greenery around the half dime, kind of pushing it up, certainly makes it not look real. But hey, if you're going to make replica coins for whatever project you have going on, I think replicas of coins from 150 years ago are probably a little bit more interesting than replicas of today's pennies. All right, well, that's my last token that I have out of this bag that spanned a couple of videos. Thanks for watching, and if you like this content, check out the C Mid 10 playlist that I have here at the end. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.